Sweet, sweet time. Yay! Welcome back to this week's podcast, which this week will be brought to you by our super spreader in chief and getting into the crockpot grind.
This week's podcast is also brought to you by Big Anime and Super Spread'em.
I'm your host, Madison.
I'm your other host, Jesse James.
I'm glad we had a similar thought process there, but I think yours wins.
I don't know. Neither of them are classy, so I think we both win.
All right, that's fine. I'll allow it.
My snack and drink is the trashiest today because it's just a standard Rockstar, which may as well be like an amount of ounces of sugar.
Okay, that's why we were concerned about the sugar intake earlier. Yeah. That makes sense. Well, I actually also have a very sugar-centered situation today, which is pretty weird for me, because I usually go salty. But I didn't have anything salty, but for my drink, I have a nice pina colada going on, courtesy of fourth and unofficial member of the podcast, Evan.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I have a fifth unofficial member of the podcast for today, and it's the last Pabst.
Hey!
But also I had to clean off the top because let's maybe give it another little swerve.
From an unreliable source.
Because I had a cooling bath that I was using for both sculptures made with starch primarily and beer. I apparently created a water terrarium, which I just dealt with because it was pushed into the back of the fridge like anything that is older than, let's say, a day and a half old with certain company that gets moved into unseeable spaces.
I know how that goes.
And those unseeable spaces created some unthinkable things. But apparently, even if water is near freezing, if it has food in it for things to use, like, say, bits of starches, it will begin to create life.
Interesting. Any life worth documenting at all?
Not really. It was kind of it looked like soot sprites from Miyazaki movies. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But they were like suspended, which was interesting.
That is different.
Yes.
Yeah. We also have a couple of situations in our refrigerator that Evan and I are kind of playing chicken with, sort of, which is not the healthiest for either of us, considering they're just in our food space where...
Yeah. I would say fridge chicken is one of the most deadly games.
It's the one we play most often, unfortunately. So it's getting time to actually take some action. But
you guys put up a nice picture on was that National Boyfriend Day? Or
oh yeah. That was funny. Evan woke up and was very jazzed that it was National Boyfriend Day, so I bought him a Starbucks coffee and a 6-pack of beer, and that was his gift.
That picture you put up made me think that the gift on Girlfriend Day should include him doing the same color dye in his mustache, because I feel like
Ooh.
that picture, looking at it, everything matched really well. And I didn't realize your hair colors were so close until that lighting was on it.
Mm.
But if part of his mustache or beard was that red color, it would actually match up perfectly.
That
Food
would be
for
pretty
thought.
awesome. Yeah. If I could get to do that.
Also, I had a delivery recently that I'm going to share. Oh, come on. do, 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 do. Oh, you can hear it.
Yeah. So you're
It's
set for the next 50 podcasts?
Still sealed. Yeah. So the other one probably only made it to podcast 40 realistically. Oh yeah. That's
the good stuff.
Barely thick enough to hold it in. That's the way I like it. 3 liters of 14.5%, which is just the way I like it.
That's an investment right there.
If I ever am in a position where I have foresight that things have got to end, don't joke about suicide. This is about having fun. I would put that entire thing in a 350 oven for like maybe 20 minutes and then just slowly drink from the bottle itself. Because I don't think it would be a fun time afterwards, but it would be a fun time during, for sure.
I think that would surpass the amount of fun that I had during my seltzer party.
I don't know. You're one of a choice number of people I know who kickflip their phone into oblivion, and that's a cool club to be in. But
I've joined it yet again. So
what'd you do?
Honestly, I think it just fell off a table or something. It happened on an evening. I think it was last weekend. It's been about a weekish like this. But Evan and I were just like drinking and playing YouTube music videos, and I think it just fell off a table or something.
See, the key is to treat your like 4.5-year-old phone like it's an entire purse.
That has been a very good strategy for you.
It's never taken any damage. There's a screen cover that has a very slight crack that you probably can't even see right above the button there. You might be able to kind of see the indenting. It's Guy Fieri has kept it safe. I've gone through more covers than phones on this thing.
Yeah.
So I know they're still getting it rough, but not onto the ground nude. It's bad for phones.
Yeah, so I've heard. I actually had a really good run with phones up until I smashed my first one.
Yeah.
And then I think this is only the second one that I've smashed the screen. No, maybe the third. No, I don't know. Either the second or the third. The
so
first one,
there's a bit of an addictive tendency to it, perhaps.
maybe. I've just like the floodgates are open. I'm free to do it now. Maybe that's it. But yeah,
you got
my first
too comfortable living moss.
Yeah. I too comfortable living on the edge, I guess. But oh, I almost forgot. I do have a snack as well.
Yeah.
And this is my snack.
Ooh.
They're toasted coconut chips.
I think I've had at least a version of those and enjoyed them quite a bit.
Yeah, these are really good. They're like so it's just coconut, but it's like coated in cocoa powder. And and there's no sugar or anything on it, but it just it's like really sweet, and it tastes like very like the right kind of chocolate, like actual chocolate.
Yeah, that's I switched from doing semi-sweet to bittersweet for the pre-made breakfast stuff I make.
This is very hard to open.
Your teeth approach doesn't seem to be doing much.
It's really not. And now I'm remembering that I've had to use scissors on this every time. I will postpone on the snacking of this.
Do you think maybe you can get in there with the power of music?
Maybe. It makes a good maraca, either way.
I mean, it sounds tasty, I'm not gonna lie.
Can you bring me scissors?
Bring me scissors!
No, we don't order food until 7. I'm sorry. Can you bring me scissors?
Well,
I can't tell if he's actually good at doing it. Yay! Don't throw them at me. Thank you.
We don't edit this. I can't take crimes out.
Nothing says happy girlfriend, National Girlfriend Day, like just pitching a pair of scissors at your girlfriend. Okay.
Being punctured by scissors.
These have an excellent crunch to them, so I wanted to ASMR this a little bit.
I can't quite hear it. Not quite picking up.
That was less crunch and more gross.
Yeah, it was more splashing at the end there.
There we go.
I'm trying to think of what that Foley would be for, but I feel like it would just be chips. Like, those sound like what they think chips actually sound like.
Yeah.
Which is all lies. Let's say, not a spoiler, just a minor tease. I practiced a little bit to see where my skills were at with some instrumentation I considered last week. And let's say it'll be a few weeks before I do anything with that. Also, you forget when you're playing things that you have finger control over just how loud some instruments can be. Also, fucking around at 2 a.m. is probably the wrong choice.
Possibly. That could play a role. Yeah. Some instruments are very, very loud by themselves. I used to play violin, and I have it, and I would like to take it out and practice every once in a while. Yeah. But then I remember the times of day where I can actually hear my downstairs neighbor sneeze and think, wow, there's no way they don't hear everything that we're saying forever.
Yep.
So a violin's probably not the best idea.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had to consider that even just being able to express yourself musically is sort of a thing you have to pay money for, which is kind of ridiculous. That's once we end up with some sort of storage location, if it's somewhere I can get to easily, I might just go there to make horrible noises, because I feel like, honestly, that might be the best way to be able to do it.
That would be fun. I would bet there's good, I don't know, acoustics or sound effects inside of a container or storage room or something.
It'll definitely give you an echo. You'd probably hang up an old blanket or something on 2 of the walls and get rid of most of it, but I bet they discourage that, but I would still maybe try it.
Yeah. Worth a shot.
Well, my week has been filled with sleeping bad. We had like 2 days of decent air, I think, between the shit that happened or is happening, or the wineries fire stuff was the last one that people were talking about.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Which
Oh, really?
winery was it? Yeah.
Like Napa Valley, like part of their winery burned down, and then I think like several smaller wineries and stuff also burned down at some point throughout the course of that. Anyway, it like went through the main winery space in California, the most recent. So, I mean, I don't know. I might be more cynical on this stuff, but I feel like some things that people give a shit about that isn't necessarily hurting people being destroyed is probably more likely to get attention than, honestly, not being able to breathe seems like it would be attention getting, but it seems like people forgot about that the fucking second it happened, because once the AQI dropped back down to like 20, which it never went below, it's supposed to be like 0 to 5. Like that's sort of where it usually is in this area, and it stayed at 20 and people were like comfortable enough, and then it went back up to like 40 for like a day or two, and now it's like hovering somewhere in the like 50-ish range last I checked. What was that?
Motorcycles.
But
speaking of air quality.
Yeah. But everybody stopped checking the AQI after it dropped down the first time. And I had this week was not only a lot of not sleeping, because sleeping with it is extremely difficult for me. Also, like, it feels like a lot of other people around here, I'm not entirely sure why, are having trouble smelling it. But it smells like burning in here often. And it's a little frustrating, where it's like there are enough problems that I feel like I'm talking about regularly and people are like, huh? Where I don't really need there to be like literally a haze of smoke and have people be like, I didn't notice. It is the subtle gaslighting of living now, period, that I'm sure lots of people feel for a long time now, but it's especially evident to me this week. In addition to the whole like, hey, that supporting white supremacists and being a complete dipshit on TV didn't go well, turned into like our big brave boy fighting that COVID that's fake.
Uh-huh.
God.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about that?
I guess. I don't know, actually, I don't know if you saw this. A few minutes ago, I was watching news coverage of Trump leaving the Walter Reed Hospital and getting flown to the White House.
To continue treatment.
Yeah, and he got out of the helicopter, walked up the stairs where they had, like, set up his little podium thing so he could, like, thumbs up everybody or whatever. Sure. He walks up the stairs, surrounded by, like, his people, and takes off his mask.
Ah, god damn it.
And goes, and it was really good. It's all I ever wanted, I guess.
What a dipshit.
I wish I could have had more than a few minutes, like, to just be happy about the fact that this has befallen him in the first place.
Uh-huh.
Before people were like, oh, well, either he's faking it to get out of the election or get out of the debates, or like, I don't know, people injecting their analysis into it. I wish I had more than a few minutes to just like revel in the wonderful irony.
Yeah.
But no. So, yeah. And I don't know, it's probably more than likely that he's going to be fine, which is the worst.
Yeah, it's kind of the worst. Though, I guess, if your Schadenfreude needs some food, it's still likely that having it in general means that you're fucked up. Like, it is unlikely that somebody who couldn't fucking get a glass of water to his mouth like 2 months ago is going to be doing great for a while. Yeah. I mean, also people are pointing out a lot of like when Herman Cain died, before his ghost started using Twitter again, they were putting up the timeline of like what his Twitter announced and like how he was doing essentially, and it was like very similar timeline of like sickness announced, hospitalization. It's like 6 days out of the hospital. Announces like getting healthier and all this stuff, and then like it just went straight downhill. So like I don't know. It's kind of dicey to assume much of anything, honestly, because I don't know. Though very frustrating. Did you see the pictures of his treatment space?
No, I didn't.
God. It was legitimately bigger and nicer than my apartment by several magnitudes.
Yeah.
It had a dining room. Like, it was in a hospital, and it was a small house. It's so frustrating.
Almost as frustrating as the fact that he spent weeks and months saying that it was fake and not a big deal and gonna go away and I don't need to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And then he gets it and gets the best healthcare probably in the world, because of who he is.
Yeah.
And that's just how things are. Almost as frustrating as that.
Almost. It's also frustrating because people were coming out saying, while he was still in the hospital, saying that basically the socialists, which is shorthand for the Democrats now because people are fucking stupid.
Those far left radicals we know as Joe Biden.
Because COVID's fake, obviously he's already been poisoned and is dead. Like, that's just what's happening. He's going to be dead any second. And since everybody knows that COVID's fake, people trying to figure out, well, what is it actually that got him sick? And then another side group of people saying, like, see, this is why they were campaigning against hydrochloroquine, because that would have saved him, and they didn't allow him to take it. Meanwhile, he's been saying that he's taking hydrochloroquine the whole time. So, like, either they're just so into the idea that he lies about stuff, and that's fine, and also, like, completely pointlessly, or they just are paying attention to nothing and making complete assumptions, and then when things happen, they go like, well, here's the reason, because these weird things that I convinced myself of are just true now. Both are probably true, honestly, but, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's, of course, not insignificant fraction of his, I don't know, enthusiasts who, it doesn't matter what is real. They're gonna come up with something after the fact to make it make sense.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I wonder about the people who are in the middle. Like, even if you, I don't know, even if you thought that maybe COVID was overblown and like not a big deal, does not the fact that the president got it, like actually got it and was immediately hospitalized. That has to make you think something. So I just wonder, like, what...
In the world of QAnon, where they say that everything means something, even if it doesn't mean anything, you'd think that they would look at this and go, that matters for some reason. But that doesn't seem to be happening. So,
yeah.
I don't know. There's also, like, there's so many people just interested in this shit that it's impossible to know what all of their weird opinions and conspiracies would be. So, who knows? But it seems like the popular consensus is that he's a big, strong boy for getting sick, and
2 thumbs way up. 2 thumbs up, no mask.
It's like it's like people who are in love with Trump are like doting parents or grandparents, and they just love everything he does and will excuse everything. Like it is past the like your son comes home with like blood all over his clothes and is like, I gotta hide out. Like it's past that even, where it's just like, why do you like this person so much that you're willing to defend them to this degree when like they're basically just out there killing and requesting the killing of people? Like,
yeah, it's not let me provide you with a place to hide since you've clearly done something very wrong. It's more like, who do I need to take out for you? Because
yeah,
I'll do it.
it's very stupid.
I don't... Very I don't know, some might say cult like, but
yeah. Well, it listening to what Behind the Bastards today, School of the Americas 2-parter recently. I'll put that in my strong recommends, especially if you found their Behind the Cops series interesting. The School of the Americas is basically the it's like the military-based institute where the United States is offering training for people from other countries, and it was based in South America, and now it's based in Georgia, and it's trained hundreds and hundreds of people. And when you start seeing all the people it's trained, it's like, oh, these are all the like dictators from coups and stuff all over South America. Like this is specifically all of the super violent regimes of people who have like done all of the bad shit in those countries. And then in that series they get into it a bit more, but the people who survived the like countless massacres that have happened due to essentially trying to quell socialism in South America, survivors are pretty much all on the same tune of like, yeah, it's terrorism to keep people from spreading socialist ideas. Like it's all like they murder a lot of people, but the point of it is to scare everybody else into not doing anything, which is exactly what the police are right now. Like they know they can't just kill everybody because that's a real problem too. It's hard to keep even the conservatives on your side if you're actually out there murdering like somebody's grandkids, you know. But they would like to, like based on what they've done in other countries. And the other part of that that's a real bummer, which we already know, but it's like hearing accounts of it from like witnesses of like, yeah, there were American soldiers there too. Like they had people from the CIA and the FBI and whatever doing this with people. Like we were fully aware. And it's like Reagan era stuff where these like dictators that killed literally hundreds of people in towns just executed them for being like suspected socialist like issues. They just sort of are buddies with like Reagan and his staff. Like somehow mysteriously they all know each other through just sort of having a shared interest in having a lot of money and not having everybody be on an even footing. It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
Especially because they did a fantastic job of convincing all of the older generations and plenty of the younger generations that the only moral way to be is like that. Like, the idea of communism, I think, is well shown in the weird, like, right-wing internet asshole thing where they always like to go over how many people communism have killed and how that's so much more than any of the wars we could ever fight. And it's like, nah, we killed way more. Like, if you want the actual people who killed the most people, it's the US. It's not any ideology. It's capitalism. Like, they've killed people in, like, almost every state and territory in the entire planet. Like, that's just how it is. And treating it like we're fighting the good fight is pretty fucking stupid. But I think the fact that that information is now widely available and people are interested in listening to it, even if it's not our parents and grandparents, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. I think, I mean, especially, like, recently with the way that the U.S., Trump's administration has handled COVID and his administration in general, how they've handled, like, foreign relations sort of things. Yeah. I think for a lot of younger people has made it very obvious that America is, like, not always the good guy, and I don't know, just kind of destroying that facade of, like, yeah, we're, like, the best, you know. I don't really know of any younger people who were, like, woo America at all.
Yeah, I do
unless
know
they live in Idaho. And they're, like,
yeah, I do know some people who are I would say people who are closer to the amount of money that I have or did have, because it hasn't changed much, when I was, like, leaving high school. And some of those people, especially, I don't know, people who have found some form of comfort, want to hold on to what they have. And I think that is probably the stage of life where people are the most likely to agree with, let's just keep things how they are, if they're not in, like, a generation older than us. But I don't see Gen Xers being like, let's go back to how we were either. I think it's literally, like, the people who had good lives because of steamrolling over everybody. And then as soon as you get to Gen X, everybody's, like, kind of losing it. And then for us, like, we kind of got fucked, but we had technology. Like, the amount of people who have been very, like, moderately based, all their fucking reasons for how we had it good was like, well, we didn't even have video games. They're like, we didn't even have this. It's like, yeah, you didn't. So, like, I don't know what that means. Like, you also had, like, groups of people who are willing to go play baseball every day and do shit. So, like, we don't have that. Like, I don't know what you think we're supposed to do, but especially if we have, like, a month out of the year now where we can't fucking go outside, I think it's going to be, like, more indoor entertainment, not less.
Yeah.
And you live in a shoebox, there's not a lot of things you can do that aren't just looking at a screen.
Happy thoughts. Hello. Can I help you? We're going to order it around 7.
Doesn't really work with my schedule.
What's your schedule?
If you kick in an hour forward, that would be good.
Do you want to order it? You're welcome to do that. Okay. Then we're waiting. Goodbye.
I feel like quarantine has really enhanced the boldness of our respective cohabitators when it comes to podcast schedules. I feel like
I agree.
our last 3 or 4 episodes have been like the fucking side characters busting in the doors and stuff.
This is my segment now. Yeah, Evan has been asking to order pizza for the last couple of hours, so I think that is what I will be doing when it comes time to do that.
I was thinking the same thing earlier today, actually, because then I don't have to ask, because everybody receives pizza the same way, which is
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless you get the pizza I used to get, which apparently only I like, so.
What pizza situation would that be?
It was less sauce, less cheese, anchovies, olives, and salami. It was good, but it was like salty and rich, which I think a lot of people, when they eat pizza, they expect to eat like 3 or 4 slices or something, depending on the size of the slice. And it didn't work out for a lot of people.
Yeah, that sounds like a pizza I would enjoy. I don't think I've ever had anchovies on pizza, but I'm pretty sure I would enjoy it.
Yeah, it's salty fish.
Yeah.
It depends on the place, though. Like, the cheaper the pizza, the more obviously their anchovies are like. They're salted fish, so they're not going to be like bad quality necessarily. But some places make them with flavor in mind, and some places make them with existence in mind. And I've definitely ordered pizzas where it's like, we'll just get whatever, who cares? And then it's like, oh, this is just like a little salt brick. That's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Oh, artichoke, when I could get it, went really well with that set of stuff too.
Oh, I love artichoke on pizza. Yeah. I do like my family tends to get like the Papa Murphy's I think it's just a veggie delight or something pizza that's like a regular kind of Alfredo base, or maybe it's just a garlic cream something.
Yeah.
Same thing. And yeah, artichokes, tomatoes, olives, some cheese, and like other various vegetables. It's a pretty solid pizza.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of like a pizza that a place around here makes. I think my weird lighting might be from this thing over here, so I'm going to go adjust it.
I will munch while you were doing that. Ooh, delicious. You're very good.
Are you giving away ASMR for free?
Indeed. These are really good.
Yeah. I haven't had that kind, but the kind of chips I had like that were really good.
Like they're very thin. It's the perfect complement to my pina colada.
That makes sense.
So, one thing I was going to mention, when we were talking about Trump getting COVID,
I can't believe you're talking about that. That's in such bad taste.
Yes, exactly. Along the lines. Of course, I don't know, Republicans were like triggered and mad because people on Twitter and everywhere were kind of like, finally, about time, some like cosmic justice takes place. And so many people were excited and like tweeting excitedly about this news. That Twitter released a statement saying like, if you tweet wishing anybody ill harm or death, even if it's from a disease, we will strike that down, and that is a violation of our terms of service.
That actually makes a tweet I saw, because this morning is one of the only days that I ever look at Twitter, is before we record, and one of the people I follow just had like a list of statements that were along the lines of like, it is what it is. It's way funnier now that I know they were doing that.
Yeah. So they released that statement, and our girl Ilan Omar retweeted it and was like, excuse me, like this is literally every single day for me, which it is. If you follow her on Twitter, you know that her entire like a lot of her replies are people like literally sending death threats and shit like that. So I don't know, just funny little things that happen.
Being a non-white female House or Senate member is the fastest way, it seems, to be called shrill, because for some reason it doesn't matter who you are, shrill is a really like tacked on term, and just getting death threats constantly, like that's what that job apparently is. But if you're the president, then you should be immune, I guess, because that's something we really need to extend, is more immunities to the president. I think people should be sending death threats 24/7 to the president right now, honestly, but I know it's technically illegal to threaten public figures like that. However, it doesn't seem to be illegal for a lot of them, so maybe shut the fuck up, Twitter, on that one.
Seems perfectly legal for the president to say on national TV that the Proud Boys and other white supremacist groups should stand up and stand by.
Stand back and stand by.
Stand back and stand by. Basically, I mean, not in any way mincing words, just saying, hey, you know, stick around because I might need your services. So
cool. That's what I love, is the extra military portion of every like dystopian culture war science fiction ever to be just actively like in play. Nothing ever goes wrong in those stories when people have weird extra military and paramilitary forces that are just like hanging out doing stuff. Everybody who's played the Metal Gear series, which is frustratingly prophetic, unfortunately, they'll probably be really enthusiastic about that when they're playing the like few games that take place in the actual future, in which it's so libertarian that what it's like Senate members are like genetically enhanced to make sure that they like live longer and are harder to kill. That seems great, right?
Oh god. Yeah, that doesn't seem too far off. Oh shoot, what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, another kind of dystopian thing. Did you watch the debate or some of it?
Chunks of it. I felt like it was important that I see how it goes down. I didn't watch any of it at the time. I saw chunks of it after, but this week there was also like a death in somebody close to me's close family. So a lot of the week had to do with dealing with that shit and having emotions, which is always very difficult for me. So that was a nice thing to hang out with the smoke and the debate and COVID blowback and all that shit. So
it's a great mixture. I feel a slide whistle inbound.
So anyway, it was an interesting week.
But so what I was going to mention about the debate is that there was another little dystopian scene was Chris Wallace. I can't remember what question exactly was posed, but he basically was basically asking Trump again, like, hey, are you gonna like leave once you're done? And that's always a fun thing for like the actual process of how our democracy goes and how the government works, just totally being up for debate, like during the debate, and messaging it as like optional. I don't know. Seems like something you shouldn't do, but
you would think.
Whatever. Chris Wallace knows best, I guess.
I can't believe Chris Wallace is he's in the position where he's one of the few people who works for a company that can get close to Trump to ask him questions and not get like pushed away completely, but it's crazy to think that Chris Wallace is somebody that is delivering any of this like actual news on any of this shit.
Or pressing him at all. I mean, I'm glad to see that, but like I don't know why they're even going the route of entertaining the conversation. Like that's not an option for you to not leave. So I don't know why we're talking about it. And oh shoot, what else was it? I don't know. He also well, I also loved going again back to that standby comment that Trump made. I loved that like 3-minute chunk where Chris Wallace gives him like the lead up to this question is like, dude, I am trying so hard to lob you like this softball question. All you have to do is say, sorry, racist, I don't like you. And he couldn't.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Also, the amount of times that it was placating just to get it to keep moving, where it was like, you're gonna love this question. Don't worry. The next question's gonna be great for you. And it's just like
insane.
I mean, if it's a debate, you should probably just give him the fucking question and not have to hold his hand all the way up to the front door. It's fucking crazy.
It was more babysitting than moderating.
Yeah.
I hated that. Well then sir, you're going to love this next question. Like stay tuned for what I'm about to say and please stop talking. Like I think actually I'm interested to watch the next debate.
Do you think the next debate will exist? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope it does because they did mention, I don't remember where I saw this, but I did remember seeing that somewhere it was talked about that for the next debate there would be some sort of system for like penalizing people for talking over each other, Trump for talking over Biden. So like he would have time taken away or something, but I don't know that's really going to happen.
Bit that I heard was that they were going to have the ability to cut mics, so they were going to have them speak on like like their own line essentially,
like on a rotation.
Yeah, which I think that's the right thing to do. I'm not convinced they'll do it, but that's what I at least heard floated, so hopefully.
would be nice.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way to really keep it moving because I feel like um, I felt like the debate was very short because they didn't really get to cover a lot because they were just constantly
Hmm.
talking over each other. But
Uh, it's also how many? Did you know that there are 4 candidates for president?
I guess I did.
Yeah.
Preferably, yeah. What's her name? There's like a Joe Jorgensen.
Yeah, that's the Libertarian, I think.
Yeah. I don't know who the other one is.
It's a Green Party. Uh, I can't even remember his name right now. It's like a Hayes style name. That's not his name, but
I know of Howie Hawkins. Is that who you're
there we
thinking?
go. Yeah, Howie Hawkins is the other one.
Evan is a big Howie Hawkins stan. So,
Yeah, it's weird because I realize that at this point, with like votes already happening, there's there's nothing to get from that really. The main thing that I am concerned with is that there is no reason why two people shouldn't, at least those two people, shouldn't be on these debates. It just makes me feel
mhm.
like the the fucking Democratic debates when Inslee left and they canceled their environmental debate, where it's like, yeah, nobody's going to do that debate now because they had one person who that was their main thing and they're gone, so let's just ignore it. Like,
Yeah, not important anymore.
and Hawkins is environment and like he's still on the Medicare for all style stuff. And the main thing that I noticed, because I hadn't looked into Green Party shit much, his main thing that I thought was interesting was a alternative government thing for policing, which is like, yeah, we
Hmm.
should be talking about all that shit. Like it I think people, even on the left, get caught up in the idea of like, well, this is what we want for policing, so like that's what we need. Uh, I think having something governmentally that is, I mean, like, think about like weed laws, like those are getting fixed. Like we are slowly getting some amount of justice for people, kind of, but having the federal law on police be a setup of an actual like judiciary oversight that is actively having to interact with like laws specifically aimed at police so that we like it's not, hey, do you want the police to like deal with this in your community? It's the police have to be responsible to this outside body kind of thing.
Hmm.
Right now, like we supposedly have a system like that, but it's outdated and nobody pays attention to it. But if we had something where we actually had like new things that people had to work into, you could at least have that conversation more freely. And I think that that is one of the tactics towards actually doing like defunding efforts and actually getting things to be like fixed a little bit. uh, Having some sort of federal legislation that makes that more possible would be huge. And that's never going to get into a debate, at least not like obviously not between these two people, but like
Yeah.
we need other people dealing with that stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I really think it would be incredibly valuable for both of the other candidates to be on the stage. 'Cause, I mean, I didn't even really think about the existence of the two other candidates until I got my ballot like last week.
Yeah.
Um, but of course, we won't see them because, that's how democracy works, I guess. Um, I actually, um, because Evan is really into Howie Hawkins and what I've read of I really actually like him too.
Yeah, he seems fine. I haven't looked into him enough to be like a fan, but I'm a fan in terms of politicians. He seems like a good one of those.
he does. I have watched a couple of his live streams about Bernie, and I think he really gets it right about Bernie, that he liked Bernie and obviously is like on board with Medicare for all.
Mm-hmm.
But his gripe with Bernie is especially with this election is that he didn't like go in on it. Like he never really, it seemed like he never really fought that hard in debates and stuff. Like he didn't get mad or represent kind of the anger that people were feeling.
Well, I think that's a misinterpretation of Bernie Sanders from the start. Like, probably he is passionate about what he's talking about, but he is also somebody who has worked to be in the Democrats, trying to turn them left for like however fucking long he's been there.
Right. So to expect him to kind of change that approach is unrealistic. And I agree with that. But that was Howie's thing about him, and from what I've read, I like him. And Evan actually, we talked about it a lot in like how we're voting, and Howie's actually not on the ballot in Idaho.
Yeah, Joe Jorgensen made it onto all the ballots, but Howie made it onto 30 of them.
Yeah.
So he couldn't win, basically.
Right.
Because of the way he's distributed.
Mm-hmm. And I when I've talked to Evan about it, his take and his plan was that he wanted to vote for Howie in Idaho so that hopefully they could reach that like 5% to, what is it? They get like federal funding or something at 5%.
Essentially, they're recognized. Like that's basically the level at which you actually get to be anything.
Right.
Because I want to say one of our past libertarian runners, which I would rather it were Green Party by a mile, but the percentage was like just under it one of the years, and people were pretty bummed out about that. I mean, I'm bummed out about it, but I think that if we had a actual moral president, which, don't get me wrong, I think an actual moral president would probably get killed. Like, I don't think people are going to be too willing to be that for a while, but that would be a presidential, like, executive order style thing that I think is the most effective possible way to do it, would be to just make some fashion of legal way that what's considered third parties exist instead of being this weird idea, because they don't right now. Like we have like ghost politicians that come up and people go like, oh, I like what they're saying, and then the media doesn't cover them and people don't talk about them like anywhere, and the government actively does not acknowledge that they exist. So like, how are we supposed to get those ideas? And it's the same problem with some of socialism when it comes to people who aren't necessarily anti-socialism and communism, who are just like, it's too complicated. And the only reason why it's too complicated is because people say it's too complicated. People say slow government is because there's already too many oversights, and like they've been deconstructing oversights for decades. Like if it were true that it was oversights, it would be so much faster now than it was when we were younger, but that's not true at all. So yeah.
Well, it is it is, I think, for any people listening, I think it is always worth it just to kind of look into the other candidates, even though there's really nothing that's going to come of it, just to see what's being said, like what the alternative is. And even I would consider if Howie was even on the ballot in Idaho, I would consider voting for him just to get them closer, maybe to that 5%. Since I know that Idaho is gonna go for Trump.
Well, that's one of the socialist tactics right now for like socialist groups is to vote for those people. Like that is actively a thing that people are talking about, is like, if we can get these people on the ballot, maybe after this nightmare of like the current set of fucks that we have available, maybe we can get more opinions when we do our elections. And it'll force people to, like, the Green Party especially has often been like left to center left, which is more left than the Democrats. And having somebody who is essentially a Bernie when it comes to like opinions, no matter who it is from the Green Party, you're essentially getting somebody like that. That makes a huge difference to debates. Like, you can't just have two assholes on stage who you've seen in some fashion or are the family members of like weird American royalty talking about like, well, I'm gonna have a cooler wiener, and then you have a third person saying like, I'm gonna give everybody Medicare, and then expect the debate to work the same way, because people are going to want that. They're not gonna be as charmed by two old men telling each other to shut up for an hour. Like, that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, I would love to see Howie in a debate. He's just he's like a funny guy.
He's kind of a Muppet, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. He seems like he's got a little more fire in him than Bernie, so I know that he would he would make the debates interesting, at least.
I think somebody like that, whether people know who he is or not, would appeal to a huge amount of the people who I know of that are not from like urban areas. Like, even though I'm not in the city directly where I am, I would consider this like an urban area. The people who live like in Nooksack and like Bellingham and parts of Washington that are even like Spokane and stuff like that, where it's small enough to where just having people who are like figures is kind of gross. Like, having somebody who you've seen for the last few years while you're hearing about all the garbage happening in everywhere doesn't feel right to vote for. And I think when you live in the city or just outside of it, you see people doing that stuff and it is impossible to avoid. Like, people who are actual like left-leaning people in Washington, if you live near a city, you know who fucking Tim Eyman is, and you know how much of a piece of shit he is, and you know he will still be there tomorrow all the time. Like, he's never going anywhere. And for people who don't live in the city, I think you can forget that much easier. But somebody who is from outside of all that shit, who you haven't been hearing about forever, could be a really good get for like politics in general. I mean, essentially that's what Trump did. Like, people know who Trump is, sure, but people didn't associate him with politics. They also probably didn't watch his blog and all that shit, where he talks about all kinds of weird ass shit. But like, I don't know. Hopefully that'll happen, but hopefully it'll be slightly more tenable 4 years from now. I hope that the result that we want happens, and there's not a ton more violence, and we can instead... Honestly, the best option is for people to just be sad about cop cars getting burnt, because who gives a shit? Instead of like very sad about people they know getting shot, which is much more likely if we keep Trump in. I've heard a lot of people denounce, even in like leftist groups, denounce like some of the property damage that's been happening, and I don't know if I'm just more cynical than cynical people on some level, but I love it. Like, every time I see a fucking cop car burn, as long as there's not a skeleton inside, that seems fine to me. Like,
yeah,
it's literally money that we all paid for stuff that is used to fuck us up. Like, there's a part of me that feels like we have a right to burn that shit if we want to. Like,
I mean, especially if you're talking about like BLM.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah, our country was built by slaves. Like, they they have a right to burn this country down. And I think that's fair. Yeah. I think that's totally fine.
Like, there's a difference between fucking up people's stuff and hurting people. And the amount of people I talk to on the internet who are over 50 who disagree with that is troubling. But, like, I mean, as long as we can get the environment rolling a little bit, especially after that, like, Exxon shit, somebody got some of their documents that said that their plan is to have, it was like 20%, 17% higher emissions within the next few years. Like, their plan is to pollute more because of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the fact that that's, like, not just acceptable, but, like, allowed, period, is weird. I have a video of a stream that's on silent on this screen that's on the other side of the room, and I think it's just frozen. I hadn't really looked at it. Our internet is working, so it must be something having to do with other stuff.
The screen stuff.
Yes, what's going on?
Oh, there's a baby next door that is screaming.
That is something babies like to do quite a bit, unfortunately.
Wow, this baby's really mad. He's I don't know, he or she, I don't know, who has been keeping up a pretty regular routine of screaming and crying at like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Good.
Which,
that's
really awesome.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. Feel real bad for the parents. That's gotta be.
I feel pretty bad for parents.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the whole baby idea when it comes to, like, the way people have to live right now. I feel like people who have a kid should be allowed to be relatively unproductive for, like, let's call it 12 years. And right now, that's not really something people can do, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is that time.
Baby time?
It's baby time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coconut time.
So I had a script I was gonna read, because I was looking into, like, what other scripts might be interesting, and I came up pretty much dry on that, because I went and I was like, you know what? This would be a funny idea. Why don't I just use something like Interview with the Vampire, and maybe nobody will notice until I get a ways in that it's even a different movie. And then I started reading through it and realized that the stage direction is, let's say, different.
Okay.
Let's see if I can. I mean, it should be easy to find. It's at the start of the flashback. Find the section I was talking about. I read more of this than I thought, I guess. Here's a quick scene that was at the beginning that was like, huh, that's an odd way to state that. A disheveled Lewis, hair in pigtail, in deep pocket frock coat, rides his horse through the fields of indigo, waving here and there to the African slaves at work. He passes slave quarters and the distant colonial raised cottage mansion of Point de Lac. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like, he was so friendly with those slaves kind of stuff that was like, I'm not so sure about that. That's an odd writing choice. And then I continued, and man, they sure do use the word quadroon a lot in this. Like a lot. So let's see. There's a point pretty early on where he gets bitten. Let's see. Here we go. Interior of a lavish French-furnished bedroom at Point de Lac, New Orleans. Louis is delirious in a four-poster bed, shrouded with mosquito netting. Female slave Yvette bathes his face with a rag. She is crying. Other slave women hover in the shadows. Overseer, a quadroon male, stands weeping in door. Yvette pulls out all candles save one by the bed. My poor Yvette, what will become of you, all of you, if I die? Yvette, you won't die, Mitchie. We need you. You won't leave us. Anyway. Like, I understand there's a story here, and it is, you know, in a certain time and place, but man, there's a lot of this slave owner's really cool to his slaves and they love him stuff. So I decided against that one.
Fair decision.
Yeah. Also, I believe that character in the movie is Tom Cruise, I think.
Oh.
I think.
Interesting.
That's how I remember it. So, unfortunately, I will not be reading that particular story.
Unfortunate.
One of the pages I was reading early today had, like, I think they used the word quadroon not just as a, like a title for people, but also, like, in the speech, like, 8 times in, like, a tiny space of it. And it's just, like, it could have been written a lot of ways, honestly. It didn't have to be that.
It didn't have to be done that way.
Let's see. Then I was thinking of another one. And let's see. So what I'm discovering is that scripts are all written very differently. So let's see how you like the writing on this one.
Okay.
So, was he like? He was fine. Fine? Just fine? He was very polite and courteous, very formal and clean. Clean? I mean, he was, you know, smart and intense, kind of intimidating. I can understand the fascination. Uh-huh. Why are you looking at me like that? Like what? Okay. I'm gonna make a sandwich. You want one? No thanks. You have to admit, he's ridiculously hot. I'm sure if you're attracted to that sort of human, the hot type of human, I asked him if he was gay. It was in your questions? Why would you do that to me? Because whenever he's in the society pages, period, full stop, he's never been photographed with a woman so naturally. Well, maybe he just wants to keep his private life private, Kate. Also, that's the punctuation.
Okay.
And now you're defending him? I'm ending this conversation. Too bad we don't have any original photos of your hot, clean, 27-year-old billionaire. The camera loves him as much as you do. Okay, I wasn't hungry, but now I am. Thank you. Anna, I've been looking for you. What's up? Guess what? What? Portland's Place is going to exhibit my photographs next month. Oh my god!
I know what this is.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
Oh, the next line actually. Congratulations! That's so good.
That's so good.
That's so good. Man, that is a mess. So I will probably read more of that, but like, holy shit.
Oh, I would love that. I actually just this week watched a couple of different people's like reactions to it was a couple of people who were like into the BDSM community watching the 50 Shades of Grey series and being like, this is everything that's wrong with it. And I really enjoyed it. It was super fun. I feel like her name was Cat Black on YouTube, so
that sounds
I would
familiar.
check that out. Yeah,
okay.
That was a good video. Someone else did one. I can't remember her name, but I had never actually watched the movie, so it was fun to just watch their
It
reaction.
was really weird when I discovered that 50 Shades of Grey, spoilers, that's what I was reading, had stated BDSM stuff in it, because I know that community is very like rules driven. So like anything they get wrong is going to be very wrong if they do it in the movie and in the book, honestly. But yeah, I'm glad they have videos actually going over that stuff, because it seems like
the BDSM.
It seems like a fucking minefield with like people who are actually into that stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because I actually didn't know. I knew like peripherally about it, but I didn't really understand that it could be so like formalized necessarily.
Yeah.
And that was like part of it. So I in Kat's video, she actually at the end her kind of conclusion was or like the question she was trying to answer was, is this an accurate portrayal of a BDSM relationship? And she ended up saying, yes, for some people, this is what it is. But she also pointed out how a lot of things were like, not. I mean, obviously, the relationship in 50 Shades of Grey is like pretty damn creepy and like just toxic. So that was part of it, but she generally said this is how some people do it, but it's not a great way if you want to like actually have a good time long term.
Yeah, it seems very like people at home who haven't like looked into BDSM but want to try something. Usually, though, I associate that with just an overbearing boyfriend or husband that's sort of a douchebag. Like that, the version that they do in 50 Shades is what that reads as to me. But I don't know.
I go ahead.
Oh, it just seems like a fraught thing to try and turn into a movie, but I know it made them like tons of money, so you know.
Yeah, I think the thing that I mean, I don't know. I think the thing that puts me off of the way that 50 Shades does it specifically is that the guy, I don't know. It's he's a creep, first of all, obviously.
Yeah. Who wears jeans to sex in.
His like Dom jeans, that's what he calls him, right?
Yeah.
That was actually not mentioned in any of the videos, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there's like...
his DJs.
Oh fuck, that's
Go
what
on.
it is. I forgot what that was. Um, uh, because I guess in the beginning of all of these relationships that like Kat was talking about in her video, there's like a common ground negotiation of what is and isn't okay, and people have like equal footing in the relationship or communication. But of course, there's never any sort of level kind of playing ground.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a never an equal dynamic in 50 Shades. It's just like big strong billionaire man who has like unlimited resources to find you always. And then I I don't know that I could get a real good read on what her deal or personality is outside, like without watching the actual movie. So
her deal and personality from the stories is that she is like, she kind of plays the weird virgin character of, I mean, I think she is literally also a virgin, but
yeah,
she's like,
is.
she's the maybe this is what I like character.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end, the conclusion is that if he it's all about his issues, and if he just sort of like lets go of the fact that he was like over domed at some point, basically, and lets her do a little bit of it, then everybody's happy. Let's ignore the part where like people almost die and there's a bunch of like weird bullshit that's very abusive in their relationship. That's fine though. It's about him finding himself, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, obviously there's so many things wrong with the way that 50 Shades does it, but highly recommend those videos. They're a fun watch.
Okay. That's by Kat Black, you said? Or you
Kat
believe
Black,
this?
yeah, Kat Black, and the other one, her name was Evie Lupine, I think. And
Those
hers
both
is...
sound like good alt YouTuber names.
Yeah.
Well, my wrists are a little stiff from all this anime that I've been playing lately. I partially as an avoidance tactic, just because I needed something to filter the various things from this week, but they put out a free game from a Chinese company called MiHoYo, I think, called Genshin Impact, built somewhat off of their old mobile game called Honkai Impact, which just makes me think of honkers. I know it is a word, but it does not read as serious to me. But Genshin Impact is a game that has taken a lot of shit for being very Zelda Breath of the Wild looking. It also happens to be a free game, so like it's, if you're familiar at all with anime games on like console platforms, and they're PC games too, but it's specifically the kind that aren't just on PC. There is a specific type of game that comes through from like Bandai and Funcom and some of those Japanese companies that kind of like hold on to the JRPG lineage, but are making games that are more like action-y for like modern like game audiences. It's not too far off from some of the things you can find in that like Atelier series that's been putting out a game like every 9 months or whatever for as long as I can remember. It's that series is not indicative of what this game is, but there are aspects of it that kind of feel similar. this game is especially notable because it is a company that makes free-to-play games on like gem systems and stuff, like most phone games that are like predatory, like whale type games. The difference is this game seems to be legit a game. So like they made a game and it has like a gacha system. It has like a character system that you would find on a mobile game. I would say it's closest to for anybody who played the Fire Emblem mobile game, it's very similar to that. There's some lesser known mobile games that I played, at least for like a few weeks, that I would say it is also similar to for like the character stuff. But outside of the characters, it is a completely normal open world JRPG storylined, like Breath of the Wild Zelda type game. It's got a huge like set of locations. It's got annoying fairy character. It's got a bunch of like anime tropes as characters that come up and interact with you in different ways. But it does have like an interesting take on how it treats its regions. It seems to be made up of sort of character studies of types of cities and like civilizations in a way. So the storyline seems to be political relationships between these different places that are on this like weird continent island thing that you're on. And there's like one that is like very individualist and like sort of libertarian, but not so. It's weird. So the system in the game you could call sort of capitalist, but it isn't really. It's more socialist. It's you earn a bunch of stuff just by playing it, but if you want to like speed up your enjoyment, depending on how far into like ADHD you are or whatever, you can put money into it. Like it's a free game, but you can pay, and that pay will result in you being able to like essentially twist a machine for like chances to get different characters and stuff like that that are added to your list of playable things.
Cool.
Like there's a lot of also every character in some way or another, it's a pretty even mix eventually, but it starts off as mostly a female cast, and they're all just anime figurines. Like if you were to make a line of these characters as toys, it would look exactly the same as every other anime like bookshop like gotcha machine thing. But that being said, it's actually a very complex, like every character has like a set of talents and a set of skills. Every character has like a completely different like set of weapons and things that you use, and the conceit of the game is that it is a free to play. Like its character system is this free to play thing. Its game system is very like adventure, action, puzzle kind of thing. Like all of the open world stuff is like the way Breath of the Wild is. Like you'll find a thing and you'll have to figure out, well, like, do I have to light these torches, or do I have to like climb to the top of this building and like find something or like solve this riddle? And that's how you progress through a lot of the like general side missions. But then, and the story and the characters are kind of mobile gamey. Like you're going to a place and you're doing a thing, and it's very standard video game. The weird center of this game, though, is the character action is like, it's specifically that anime game on consoles feel. So you're able to switch between 4 characters that you set all of their like skills and weapons and everything into your like 4 directional buttons that you use for like selection. And while you're using them in a fight, you can switch to any of them, and everything they do affects, especially as you progress, every other thing the other characters do. So it becomes like a secondary puzzle of how do you use all of these like weird little reactions to defeat the things that are in front of you. And it's a pretty satisfying game. I would say my interest in playing it without like sort of pulling my attention away as much as I would on certain like games is pretty much in line with the Legend of Zelda stuff recently, which there's enough people out there who that's one of their favorite games of all time now. The characters aren't going to be that level because Nintendo does that better than most places, but nearly everything else about it is in some ways better and in some ways comparable, and I think people should give it a shot because it costs $0, and that is exactly the amount of money I would like to pay right now.
And what's it called again?
Genshin, Genshin Impact. Okay. They could have picked a better name for our audience. The US isn't going to go Genshin. Oh, good. But it's definitely like if also you can tell that they have not made a lot of games for consoles because most games on most consoles create a suite of icons and stuff that are unique to those games in a very specific way. I have no interest in the Gears of War series, but they have a very iconic cog with like the initials in it, and that'll be on everything. And this game's icon on the PlayStation is the company's logo, I think, with their company name on it. It's very like phone. Like it looks like a bunch of things that you would see on like a console and then a phone game there. But that phone game is 5 to 10 times the size of most modern JRPGs. It's like a 10 gig game. And Japanese action RPGs are sort of well known for being like a couple gigs at the most. So they're really packing a lot of stuff in here. And I would say in terms of like a time waster, like there's always going to be like Minecraft on the top of those lists and stuff, but this is probably in the realm of like a less interactable, like you're not picking things up and physics moving them around, but it feels very like a mix between the satisfaction from Breath of the Wild and like a Skyrim-esque kind of thing where you're slowly making your way through all these locations and like seeing all this art that they made as like a big part of that story.
That's cool.
While fighting a lot of like blobs and monsters. And I fought a cube recently.
Ooh.
And I couldn't beat it. And having something that I can't beat in a game makes me like that game a lot more. Because like, but I will say as a warning, if you have addictive tendencies that cause you to pay money into stuff, it still has the ability to do that. And while it's easy to avoid after they show you how it works in like the first 10 minutes, you can forget about it. But if you aren't the person who can forget about it, I wouldn't play it. And I think it's great, but I would avoid doing that if you're like in that danger zone of just throwing money at something.
Yeah.
And it's 7:00, so I'm gonna say, why don't you order up a pizza, and I'm gonna let you know a little bit about Charlie.
Oh boy.
And this will probably be a shorter one because I debated postponing this podcast because my throat from this last week is terrible. But I needed to get in a little more of this, just especially in comparison to the last couple things that I've read. It's art what we're hearing here. So,
I am ready to hear about Charlie.
Let me just get the tone right. All right. Enjoy your pizza ordering, and for everyone else, the cruiser pulls up to the old 2-story house. A woodshed full of firewood. There's a small boat in the garage, fishing gear, an old buoy. Bella climbs out. Home. Charlie's house during the day. Bella and Charlie carry in her bags. The house isn't stylish. The only new thing is a flat TV screen. But it's comfortable, lived in. Lots of fishing memorabilia. I couldn't read the word fishing. Photos of Charlie fishing with Quillette. Is that Quill? Is that how they're spelling Quileute? Okay. Fishing with Quileute Indian Billy Black. Handmade cards to Daddy and photos of Bella. She winces at herself, age 7, in a tutu, sitting stubbornly on the ground. Charlie. I put Grandpa's old desk in your room, and I cleared some shelves in the bathroom. Bella, grimacing. That's right. One bathroom. Bella's eye lands on a photo of a much younger Charlie and Renee on vacation, beaming with love. I'll just put these up in your room. Bella, I can do it. They both reach for the bags, bumping one another awkwardly. Bella backs off, letting Charlie carry the bags upstairs. Bella's room during the day. An antique roll-top desk sits in a corner. The room is filled with childhood remnants. They've seen better days. As she unpacks her CD case, loneliness finally overwhelms her. She sits heavily on the edge of the bed, tears threatening. Then we hear a honk outside. Bella runs across the hall and looks out the window to see outside a faded red truck, circa 1960, pulls up. Bella exits to find Charlie greeting the driver. Jacob Black, 16, Quileute Indian, amiable with long black hair and hints of childish roundness in his face. The two of them help Jacob's father, Billy Black, from the photos into a wheelchair. Bella, you remember Billy Black. Glad you're finally here, Charlie. Oh, sorry. Glad you're finally here. Charlie hasn't shut up about it since you told him you were coming. Keep exaggerating. I'll wheel you down the hill. Right after I ram you in the ankles. You can tell they just love each other. Billy takes several rolls at Charlie, who dodges. Jacob shakes his head at their two fathers as he shyly approaches Bella. Jacob. I'm Jacob. We made mud pies together when we were little kids. Bella. Yeah, I think I remember. The dads. Are they always like this? It's getting worse with old age. Charlie then pats the hood of the truck, addressing Bella. So what do you think of your homecoming gift? No way, this truck is for me? Just bought it off Billy here. I rebuilt the entire engine and it's perfect. She beams. It's the first genuine smile we've seen on her. She rushes to the truck. Jacob eagerly joins her. All of this Jacob stuff is tainted after the rest of it. He hands her the keys as she climbs in. Wait, Jacob says, okay, so you got to double pump the clutch when you shift, but he hands her the keys as she climbs in. Maybe I can give you a ride to school. I go to school on the reservation. Too bad. Would have been nice to know at least one person. As she starts up the truck, we match cut. I don't know what a match cut is, but they do it.
Okay.
Let's see. I wanted to get the meeting of Jacob in there. Let me see if we can get something not too set-up-y. Also, so how long has it been since you've seen the first movie? I think I asked this last week, but I forget what the timeline.
Oh, it's been like years.
In the first movie, when I saw it, I had not obviously read the book, and they didn't set things up very well. And they are doing it in this too. They never refer to Charlie as her father in the entire first movie until they ask her at some point at the very end. They maybe don't even do that. Whenever people address her about Charlie, they say, "But what about Charlie?" Never addressing the fact that Charlie is her dad. So they like have this weird thing where if you're watching it and just don't get the whole thing,
you would never know.
Yeah, like they don't really refer to him that much unless they're saying like, what will Charlie think? And it may as well be anybody. It may as well be a kid at school at that point. Like, it makes no sense. But
that is really odd. I never realized that.
Yeah, it's very strange. Let's see. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay. I'll flip the light on and off just to illustrate that it's coming. How's your pizza ordering going?
It's good. I think I've decided.
Okay. Once you have that set up, let us know what you're getting. All right. Mike, you met my homegirl Bella. Your homegirl? Jessica to Bella. It's the first grade all over again, and you're the shiny new toy. Bella smiles awkwardly. Yeah. Suddenly, a flashbulb blinds Bella. She looks up at the photographer, Angela. Jessica's sweet, low-key, insecure friend. Angela. Sorry, needed a candid for the feature. Eric. Feature's dead, Angela. Don't bring it up again. To Bella. I got your back, baby. Angela, disappointed. Guess we'll just run another editorial on teen drinking. Bella. Sorry, there's always eating disorders or Speedo padding on the swim team. Angela. Wait, that's a good one. But Bella's attention is now riveted to Bella's POV, the double doors of the cafeteria. They swing open as four of the most astounding people Bella's ever seen enter in slow motion. The Cullens. Two guys, two girls, all chalky pale, purplish shadows under their eyes, and all devastatingly beautiful. They move through the room with effortless grace and take a seat at the table furthest from Bella's. Bella leans over to Jessica and Angela. Bella, who are they? Angela, the Cullens. Jessica leans in, swinging into gossip mode. Jessica, Dr. and Mrs. Cullen foster kids. They all moved down here from Alaska 2 years ago. Angela, they kind of keep to themselves. Jessica, because they're all together, like together. The blonde girl, Rosalie, and the big dark-haired guy, Emmett. On Rosalie, 18, long blonde hair, model, beautiful, knows it. Alongside her is Emmett, 17, big, brawny, like a weightlifter, but a playful glint in his eye. Jessica, they're a thing. I'm not even sure that's legal. Angela, Jess, they're not actually related. Jessica, but they live together. And the little dark-haired girl, Alice, she's really weird. On Alice, 17, pixie-like, rail thin, light on her feet with short black hair going in every direction. She hovers over Jasper, 18, honey blonde hair, tall, lean, slightly tortured. Jessica.
Slightly tortured.
She's with Jasper, the blonde who looks like he's in pain. I mean, Dr. Cullen's like this foster dad / matchmaker. Angela, maybe he'll adopt me. Bella laughs, liking her, then sees the last Cullen to enter. Edward, 17, lanky, with untidy, bronze-colored hair. He seems inwardly turned, mysterious, more boyish than the others, but the most striking of all. Bella can't take her eyes off him. Who's he? Jessica. That's Edward Cullen. Suddenly, Edward looks over, as if he heard Jessica from across the room. His eyes meet Bella's, but he seems confused. Bella quickly looks away. Jessica. He's totally gorgeous, obviously, but apparently no one here is good enough for him. Like I care. She obviously does. Anyway, don't waste your time. Bella. I wasn't planning on it. But Bella can't help but peek at Edward again. He's staring at her outright now, with a slightly frustrated expression that unnerves Bella. She hides behind her hair. Biology class during the day. How's that pizza?
It's good. It's been ordered. Successfully.
I gotta get a little more of the juice. My voice is fucked.
Need some of that sweet, sweet sugar.
It doesn't taste good.
Seems like it would, though.
Yeah. One of my favorite games, the Mad Max game that came out like in 2000, I want to say 14, 15, somewhere in there. One of my favorite shitty crossovers is, so it's based in the Mad Max universe, and it's specifically right for the most recent Mad Max movie. What's it called? The one with
Fury Road.
Yes, Fury Road. So you're playing that specific character, and it's a weird like movie tie-in that I didn't expect. That goes from like an event up to the start, like the start of the movie. Like, as far as I remember, it is like the scene that cuts off as you start the movie. And I really like how they did all of that stuff. It's always surprising to me, though, when they do like The Matrix did that. They had like a game that was between movie 1 and 2, I want to say, that was literally like the Naomi character, or is that Niobe? I think it's Niobe. Niobe and Ghost are characters in that series that you like see. One, it's Jada Pinkett Smith and another actor whose name I don't remember. And they come and save them when like their ship is like fucked up or something. And you never hear about them beforehand at all. And at least from what I can remember, we watched those movies recently, but like, and the game is literally all the shit that they're doing leading up to that, up to like the point where you get called. And it's another one of those things that feels like that in the Mad Max game. Anyway, the funniest thing is that I think it was supposed to be a pre-order bonus, and then it just became part of the game. There's Rockstar drink branded shit in the game that makes no goddamn sense. And one of the things that you get is you get a little car that's like a Rockstar car, but like it's all beaten and weathered, like it was through the apocalypse. Mm-hmm. But then you get like a skull with like Rockstars chained up under it that look like clean, fresh Rockstar cans. And then a hood ornament thing. I think you can switch what side of the car they're on whenever, but it's just that star with the R in it that you can like put on your car, and it like confers some kind of weird bonus to like how much turbo you have or something. It's like a nitrous booster or some shit.
Of course it is. That makes sense.
Because that game is such a well-designed, like, it's not a game that I suggest most people play. It is slow, and it's about like how a car feels in a lot of ways, where like they modeled out how it feels to drive on like old fucked up asphalt and sand mostly. So there's a lot of like getting on a hill and just like trying to like force your way up, or like it has a lot of like sand physics and things like that, and it's a lot of long stretches of like there's nothing except like occasional assholes out here and like the nothingness. And it also has a system that brings in like it was one of the most terrifying versions of a storm I've seen. They have that like roving storm that's in the movie. And it's like it feels like it is twice as loud as the rest of the game, which is pretty quiet. And it's just this like complete shift in how the environment looks, and it can happen anytime. So like you could be
that's spooky.
You can be like in a cave like looking for something and like fighting off like weird feral people, and walk out and it's just like lightning everywhere and it's like black outside. And they did such a good job with that stuff that like even if it was just a bad weather simulator, I would still like it. But because it has like interesting shit in it, I like it more. It goes a lot more into that like weird religion of like people looking at cars as like almost like a weird holy vestment kind of thing. I think that's interesting. Kind of people taking what's around them and making it into something more important because it's all you really have. But yeah, a good game for people who like to relax by having terrible windstorms around them.
I like the idea of the bad weather, just like watching that from a cave. That sounds pretty nice, actually.
Well, one of the things that the weather often brings in is it will like, because you're partially supposed to be in like what used to be the ocean bed around Australia. They like unofficially, but that's like what they've sort of established is like the White Plains or whatever are actually like supposed to be where the ocean used to rise to. And the storms will blow in shipping containers. So like you'll see these giant containers like go rolling across the ground and stuff. And if you get hit by them, you'll just die most of the time. And like there's low visibility. There's like lightning that will sometimes just strike right next to you or like on like what you're driving and just fuck you up. Like it's got that level of randomness where like you actually as the character could die at any second when that stuff's happening. So it makes it very tense because like you could be in the middle of a mission and it'll just happen. And because the missions take place in an open world, it can be completely random. And like you could lose a mission at the very end of it because lightning struck you or something, like potentially. It's a very interesting
That's a fun, like, added dynamic.
I wouldn't suggest it for people who have like anger issues, but for people who like randomness and the experience of something as opposed to like winning, it's a great game for that. I've died a fucking million times in that game, which most games that have that effect I actually like a lot more than like, I don't know, time wasting games are interesting, but if I'm gonna pay money for something, I want it to mean something, I guess, is usually my feeling.
Yeah. My order is in the oven.
Explain this pizza.
So I'm ordering from Domino's. And I use a coupon where you can do a 2-topping large pizza. And also, what did I get? Like chicken wings. So, I just got some buffalo chicken wings, and for the 2 toppings, I went with mushroom and sausage.
I mean, that sounds pretty good.
I love a mushroom, and Last time we had pizza, I think I did pepperoni and mushroom. So I'm switching it up.
I don't know. I think I'm sick of pepperoni. I don't know what it is.
Too much pep.
I guess.
I really wish that the coupon gave me more than 2 toppings, because I would like lots of toppings.
Yeah, that's maybe the thing that has destroyed more coupon experiences than anything for me, is the fact that, like, I don't want this, like, pizza with nothing on it. I want to fucking, like I want it to at least be as interesting as a good focaccia kind of thing. Like, I don't want it to be some fucking loser pizza with I didn't ever love it, but pepperoni pizza kind of, like, it's not my thing. And while I appreciate why people like it, I don't think I'm ever going to be, like, die-hard pepperoni like some people I know.
Yeah, I don't think I'm never in the mood for pepperoni either. I kind of always want like I like sausage over pepperoni, I think.
Yeah.
And then I like having a good amount of vegetables, but I didn't have that.
Did I just hear something come to your messages?
Yes. Scriptslug.com.
Well, perhaps if you were to open that and scroll down to, let's say, PDF page, what is this? The bottom of page 16? It does not hold your page.
Oh, that's too bad.
Bottom of page 17. I am going to go ahead and get in on some ordering.
Okay.
But I thought perhaps you might like to see what strikes your fancy.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. What does INT mean? Ensure. Well,
ENT is I think enter,
mm-hmm.
and INT is, I think, introduce. That is my reading of it so far, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, this is biology class, everyone. We're now transported to biology class. A room of black-topped lab tables. 2 to a table. Bella and Mike enter. Mike takes his seat and points her toward Mr. Molina, Birkenstocked, enthusiastic science teacher at the head of the class.
Birkenstocked.
That's very specific. As Bella moves to the teacher with her class slip, she notes Edward, his back to her, sitting at a front table. But as she passes Edward's table, this is in slow motion, the breeze she creates while she passes lifts a piece of paper next to Edward. We're still on his back as he inhales, then abruptly stiffens. He grabs onto the edge of the table, crumbling it slightly. No one notices.
Oh, Mr. I remember Molina. This scene in the movie. It's very weird.
Yeah. Mr. Molina takes Bella's class slip. Mr. Molina, welcome, Miss Swan. I always forget her last name is Swan.
Yeah, her name is like Pretty Swan. It sucks.
Follow along as best you can till you get caught up. Mr. Molina gestures to the only empty seat next to Edward. But as Bella approaches, she's taken aback when, on Edward's face, he slowly looks up at her, his eyes coal-black with repulsion and fury. If looks could literally kill... Bella knocks someone's book bag off their chair, replaces it, mumbling an apology, then slinks reluctantly into her seat. Edward jerks away from her to the extreme edge of his chair. Mr. Molina to the class, animated. Today we'll be observing the behavior of planaria, aka flatworms. Great. As Mr. Molina distributes 2 petri dishes per table, Mr. Molina says, we're going to cut them in half, then watch them regenerate into 2 separate worms. Ooh. Bella glances at Edward, who averts his face, holding a hand over his nose as if he smells something horrible. Bella, shrinking, suddenly sniffs the air, smells nothing. Then she sniffs her hair. It's fine. She's perplexed. Mr. Molina hands Edward 2 petri dishes. Yes, folks, zombie worms. They just won't die.
All right.
Edward takes the dish, then slides the second one across the table to Bella, as if she had Ebola. I always pronounce this wrong. Is it Ebola or Ebola?
Ebola.
Okay, Ebola.
That's my understanding of
it. She takes her dish and makes a dark curtain of her hair between them. She can see Edward's hands under the table, clenched into fists. Off, Bella? Off, I don't know. She's utterly baffled and deeply insecure. Later that day in the high school hallway, as the bell rings, Edward bolts out the door. Other kids and Bella exit a moment later. Bella looks down the hall. He's gone. Now we're in the administration office. Bella enters, but nearly turns and leaves when she sees Edward, sweet-talking the enchanted female administrator in her 40s, who is in her 40s. I don't know. He doesn't see Bella enter. There must be something open 6th period. Physics? Biochem? Hello, Evan. No, every class is full. I'm afraid you'll have to stay in biology. I'm so sorry. It's on its way. Bella blanches. The administrator sees her and gestures for her to wait a minute. But Edward suddenly straightens, as if sensing Bella. He slowly turns to glare at her with piercing, hate-filled eyes. She backs to the wall, hugging herself, suddenly chilled, ... with fear.
Yeah, not chilled with arousal, like
you've
been led to believe.
Totally not. Edward, I'll just endure it. He strides out the door. Outside, Edward climbs into a shiny new silver Volvo with the Cullens, while Bella, upset, hurries to her truck, the many eyes still watching her add insult to injury. Finally, she reaches her truck and closes the door. Her eyes well, but she fights it, getting mad. Jerk! As she tries to start the car, choking the engine, we begin to hear a man's ragged, frightened breath.
Yeah. Transition.
Yeah. Okay, enter, I think, on a security guard in the darkness. Extremely tight on his terrified face, sweat dripping, breathing in short gasps, trying desperately not to make a sound.
Let's see. Actually,
happening.
I'm trying to think of. All right. Do you want to read for this portion the stage direction or the people?
I don't care. I'll read the stage direction.
Okay.
Okay. And introduce Grisham Mill in the late afternoon. He's crouched in a dark corner, but then he sees a shadow moving blindingly fast past him. He jerks around. Then another shadow flies past. Shadow is in all caps.
Yeah, there's a lot of all capsing.
Too fast to follow. He bolts. He runs up a flight of stairs. Harsh lights from the exterior of the mill striating him?
Yeah.
Striating? Okay, I don't know that word.
It's like shadow and light next to each other.
That makes sense. He moves as fast as humanly possible. Unknown POV on the security guard from several floors below. Unknown POV charges after him at an inhuman speed through this maze of pillars and walkways. We dodge skull-crushing beams, leap from one floor up to the next, up ladders, scaffolding, beams, up and up, getting closer and closer to the security guard, who desperately runs for his life, looking over his shoulder with terror. Unknown POV is closing in on him, but then he bolts out a door. Back to Grisham Mill, or no.
Oh, it's interior, exterior.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. The guard bursts out onto a stair landing, but loses his footing and trips, breaking through the rail and pitching over the side into the air, and stops, hovering mid-air, a yard from the landing. A hand grips his shirt, then yanks him out of the air and out of frame with incredible strength. His guttural scream is choked short as blood sprays the landing. Okay. Interior Forks Coffee Shop. We're in Forks Coffee Shop in the late afternoon. On top of a sirloin steak. This is a coffee shop? Okay, as it is set in front of Charlie. He shares a table with Bella. Include the waitress, Cora, in her 30s. She beams at Bella as she sets a plate of cod in front of her. Several loggers at the counter offer Bella welcoming smiles. She shrinks in her seat at the attention. Charlie is oblivious.
Cora. Do you want to read the character names to divide it?
Sure, yeah. Cora.
Can't get over how grown up you are and so gorgeous.
Bella glances at Charlie, who keeps his eyes on his steak. A bearded, hippie logger, Waylon Forge, 50, appears behind Cora, leaning over her shoulder to Bella. Waylon.
Remember me, honey? I was Santa one year.
Ooh, Charlie.
Waylon, she hasn't had a Christmas here since she was 4.
Waylon.
I bet I made an impression, though. You always do.
Cora.
Let the girl eat her cod, Waylon. When you're done, I'll bring your favorite, berry cobbler. Remember, your dad still has it every Thursday. This sucks. These people are terrible.
Bella. Why do they remember in such detail things she liked when she was 4?
I don't know.
Weird.
Not remembering at all. That'd be great. Thank you.
Cora shoos Waylon away. Left alone now, Charlie and Bella both reach for the salt and knock hands.
There's a lot of like weird, awkward date situations with the dad. That's also something I didn't quite understand because like he's probably like not that much older than her in the acting sense.
Yeah.
So in the movie, it also was like, what?
It is very confusing now I think about it. And even in the last one, I remember like not being sure that it was the dad because they were calling him Charlie.
Right.
And he's like kind of a hot dad. And so I was like, who is this man to her? He doesn't look that much older than her.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Gross.
But also, she doesn't look like she's a fucking high schooler, so whatever.
True. Oh yeah, they knock hands. Oopsie. Charlie goes for the ketchup instead. Silence as they eat. Ooh, awkward. A burst of laughter from a nearby happy family only serves to emphasize their discomfort. Bella tries to bridge the gap. Bella.
So, you eat here every night?
Charlie.
Easier than washing dishes.
Bella.
I can cook.
He looks up, as if confused by the concept. Bella.
I do the cooking at home. In Phoenix, Mom's not great in the kitchen.
Charlie.
I remember.
They both laugh, recalling an especially bad dinner. Charlie.
How was school? Meet anyone?
Bella.
A few people. Do you know the Cullen family?
Charlie, looking up sharply.
Are people talking about them again?
Bella.
No. Well, a little.
Charlie.
Just because they're newcomers, we're lucky to have a surgeon like Dr. Cullen at our podunk hospital. Lucky his wife wanted to live in a small town. Lucky his kids aren't like a lot of the Hellraisers around here.
Bella.
Okay.
Jeez. Charlie.
I just don't like narrow-mindedness.
Wow, he's aggressively open-minded, I guess.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And he returns to his food in silence.
I like that scene a lot. In its written form, it is extremely weird.
It is.
It's like
a lot of these scenes are just awkward.
Also, like, I feel like this movie's not a comedy. Like, it has some parts that are like amusing-ish, but mostly it's just like YA style fiction, like romance stuff, mixed with like, this is something the kids will like, and their attempts at pseudo comedy are almost entirely horrendous. Like, they're the guy getting yanked off screen, and then like the steak like on the plate feels like a comedy scene from like 1980 something. Like, it's all just so like, I don't know.
Like, okay, we get it.
Yeah. Like, I think the fact that there was so much money in this series is the only reason why people would ever take this stuff seriously.
The money and the fact that they could get like hot 20-somethings to play your teens.
Oh yeah.
Poor teens. They man, teenagers really, you've just got everything going against you because everyone expects you to be a hot teen and you're not.
Hey, if you're a teen, you're not a hot teen. That's how it works. Hot teens,
sorry, teens,
are actually in their 20s. That is how it is.
That's how it goes.
If you disagree, you're weird.
Legally, you're not allowed to be hot.
Legally, also, yes.
Yeah.
Like, that is a key thing to keep in mind should you be thinking about, well, why aren't they? There's a reason.
There are lots of reasons. Okay, I scrolled too far up. Oh, good. We're in Bella's bedroom. Excellent. Nothing bad could happen here. Bella looks out at the fog as she talks on the phone. Renee, over the phone.
If spring training goes well, we could be living in Florida permanently.
Telephone operator.
Please insert 25 cents to continue.
What? Bella.
Mom, where's your cell?
Intercut with the exterior of a gas station / garage at night. Renee is talking on a payphone, her dead cell phone in her hand. In the background, Phil and an attendant work on the Subaru engine. Renee.
Okay, I didn't lose my power cord. It ran away, screaming. I literally repel technology now.
Cool mom. Bella smiles, missing her mom. Renee feeds the phone quarters. Renee.
Now tell me more about your school, baby. What are the kids like? Are there any cute guys? Are they being nice to you?
Bella, a beat, lying.
They've all been really welcoming.
Push it on Bella's face! Getting mad all over again is flash pop to Edward's face. His coal black eyes. The fury. ... Smash too? I really like these transitions. Exterior of the high school in the morning, before school. Oh my god, that scared me. On Bella, sitting atop a table, an open book in her lap, but her eyes are on the arriving kids in the parking lot as they pull in. She's waiting for Edward. Wait, is this a memory or is this the next day?
I think this is the next scene the next day. I think this is where it went, I believe.
Okay. Before we continue, I need to take this. Someday I will permanently solve this problem, but that day is not today.
Fair enough. And that was the theme from Twilight, My Heart Will Go On.
Ooh.
My favorite part in Twilight is when old Bella throws that priceless necklace into the ocean.
I do like that part. Okay.
Do you remember they go to the Vatican in this series?
Yes. Yeah, I do vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that. And then there's also the a vampire who's like a Revolutionary War era guy who just isn't they live forever, I guess, and
Yeah.
he's just like hanging out and has never like adapted to modern times. He's just hanging out being still a Revolutionary War era guy. Pretty fun.
Very weird.
I like him.
Yeah.
Okay. Jessica, Angela, Mike, and Eric kick around a soccer ball nearby. They wave Bella to join them, but she smiles, declining, and returns to watching for Edward. Her face tells us she's ready for a confrontation. Now we're in biology class, same day. Bella strides in, but stops, surprised to find her lab table empty. Bella is frustrated. Begin a series of Okay, here.
So begin a montage.
A montage over several days. We're in the cafeteria.
One moment. Nicholas. There are bits of food coming. What is that? I will describe it for everybody now. Does it list it on my app?
I need to know.
Oh, well, it'll list it. Hold up. Well, no. I'm getting some tonkatsu. So just like the cutlets. I'm getting some takoyaki. And I'm getting... What was that? And I'm getting some... some shio, like, potato wedges. It's potato wedges with, like, the seaweed style, like, seasoning and stuff on it. We have enough food here, so I just got some, like, general stuff to, like, add to it. Plus, I wanted you to know before you try to go to the store, so like. Yeah. All right.
I have 1 minute ETA.
Really?
Yeah, that was so fast.
Wow.
I can watch him in real time. Wait, I probably shouldn't put my address.
I didn't see it, but yeah, you should not hold it any longer than
Hey,
that.
everyone!
No!
Oopsie. That's actually public information through like your voting record or your voting information, right? I think it is.
Address?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably, honestly.
But... Okay. Nobody on internet people, don't do that.
Yeah.
Please. All the many viewers we have, don't.
I'll make sure that that's not visible in the frames of this before I put anything up. Or I'll just take that frame and try to make that our
That could be the thumbnail.
Yeah, that can be the thumbnail.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if someone really, really wanted to find me, I'm pretty sure they could, so...
Nobody wants to find us. Also, they wouldn't be happy if they did.
It would be pretty disappointing, I'm sorry to say.
Unless you're trying to find us to, like, assume our debts. That's fine. No. I got some cool ones for you.
Oh no, I lost my place again.
Do I have it listed here? It looks like montage. I moved the orientation of this. Should be on page 23.
Okay, yeah, I found it. Here we go. Okay. All right, starting off the montage in the cafeteria. Bella sits with Jessica and Angela, who watch a YouTube video on their phone. Good old 2008. Bella gives it a cursory look, but is focused on the colon table. They have their own table. That's fun. Yeah. Only 4 of them. Edward's seat is empty. Interior of the girls' bathroom. Different day, though. Bella washes her hands, then looks up at the mirror, startled to find Rosalie and Alice behind her. They study Bella, Rosalie with chillingly cold eyes, Alice with curiosity. Bella, uneasy, hurries out. What a great interaction.
Why would that make somebody uneasy?
I don't know. Weird. Oh, I hear pizza. Okay, let's finish this montage, though.
Yeah.
We're outside of high school. Different day. Bella exits with Angela, Mike, Jessica, and Eric becoming a part of this circle. She now only glances at Rosalie's car, a red M3 BMW, as it drives past, noting again 4 colons, no Edward. Bella returns to her friends, finally forgetting about him. Our montage ends as we go to the interior of Charlie's house in the living room in the morning. It's neater, rearranged more attractively. Clearly, Bella's given it her touch. She sweeps through, folding Charlie's fleece jacket, straightening up. She grabs her book bag. Bella.
Dad, I'm heading out. That's how she sounds, right?
On Bella's face as she opens the door and stops, dismay filling her. It's pouring down rain. The yard is full of puddles, some frozen. Bella shivers, wraps her coat tight. Bella.
Right.
Wow, you have so many lines.
It's a thinking man's movie.
Yeah. Whip pan to the driveway as... Okay.
There we
go. Shoot, I lost my whip pan. Okay. To the driveway as Charlie pulls in, driving her truck. Bella.
Dad, I can drive myself to school.
As she walks down the steps, she doesn't realize something's watching her. Unknown POV from the trees, tracking Bella's every move as she slips and falls on a patch of ice. Back on Bella. fallen on her ass. I wasn't expecting the ass there. Charlie climbs out of the truck and helps her up. Charlie.
You okay, Bells?
Bella.
Ice doesn't help the uncoordinated.
Okay. Charlie.
That's why I got you new tires.
She looks over at the truck. Yep, 4 new tires.
Oh boy.
Oh, great. Charlie.
The other ones were nearly bald.
Bella.
You got me new tires? No one's ever done that before.
Whoa.
Took my share of chicken wings, by the way.
Oh, okay. What's this? Oh, is this the sauce? Yes, sauce. Thank you. Okay. Do we say you got me new tires? No one's ever done that before?
Yeah. There's a spot where it says omitted. That's where we'll stop. So.
Okay. Charlie looks at her, confused. Bella.
I mean, nothing.
He clearly doesn't get it. As it heads towards his, he clearly doesn't get it as heads towards his cruiser. Okay. Charlie.
I'll be late for dinner. I'm heading down to Mason County. A security guard at the Grissom Mill got killed by some kind of animal.
Wow, just in passing, that's not at all interesting.
Yeah.
Unknown POV on Bella and Charlie as he speaks. Bella.
An animal?
Charlie.
You're not in Phoenix anymore, honey. They've been hunting it for a week with no luck. Thought I'd lend a hand.
Bella.
Be careful.
Charlie.
Always am.
Back on Bella.
And thank you for the tires.
He sees emotion in her eyes, doesn't understand it, but nods and heads inside. Great. This emotion, I don't understand it, but I see. He's thoroughly confused by him. Okay. Bella looks at the tires again, oddly moved.
And now you know the rest of the story about the tires. I thought that was an especially weird spot to end because... Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think we should continue this.
I wish there was an easier way to like pull out scenes, but like using what I'm using, it's pretty tough to do much more. But
leads.
I feel like this month we need to keep it spooky at least a little bit, and this is a dumb way to do that. I also figure, let me undo the spooky light.
We need to unveil this.
Yeah.
God. Unveil yourself.
And pizza. Very nice.
Yeah.
It's got that brown lump to it.
Does it? I haven't seen it. Oh yeah, nice. And Evan has already taken a slice. Excellent.
Let me see those wings.
Here are the wings. Which Evan, I think, has already also taken. Oh. This wing situation is very...
That's some sloppy boys in there.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
The wings are always the most mysterious part of pizza ordering because they're such a wide variety of weird bullshit.
Yeah. I've been pretty happy with my Domino's wings orders so far.
I used to occasionally get lemon pepper dry wings, I think. They were boneless wings, so they were basically just fucking chicken strips. And those were pretty good, but I didn't get them very many times, but it was one of those things of like getting this from a pizza place. I don't really understand the point.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm into it.
Yeah. Well, that's our stance here at this week's podcast. We're into it.
We're into it.
Well,
especially in relation to the president having COVID. I'm into it. Yeah.
I don't have any glasses. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today because my voice is going to go out any second.
Oh.
And unless you have something you want to finish up with, I think I'm going to play us out.
Feel free.
Okay. Well, be safe out there. Let's see, what song am I going to play? Huzzah!
Begone, thoughts!
And bejabbers.